Hello everyone, this is Farzana for farzanaslaw, and thank you so much for joining me today in this brand new video where I'll be sharing with you all the top 10 best laws of dealing with jealousy according to Islam. So if you're interested in this kind of content, I do try to post these kind of content every single week because I try to believe the fact that you should be learning as much as you can about secular knowledge as well as spiritual knowledge. The more you can do that, the more is better for you as a human being, because you're not just fixated in one part of your life. You're not just being spiritual, but you're also not being earthly mode or just being in the territory in the world. Basically, you have to learn the both, basically, my opinion. So I believe that learning about spirituality is as much as important as it is if you want to learn about law, maths, biology, chemistry, etc. So today I'm talking about something which is very controversial, not really controversial, but something that we all feel at some point in our lives. And after a certain point in our lives, we learn how to deal with it very effectively and manage it very effectively as well. And I feel like that I've come to that stage where jealousy is something that I do feel sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you guys because I'm a human being myself. But at the same time, I know how to handle it very effectively. And I know how to handle it because of all the knowledge that I'm basically acquiring through, research, through books, through videos, etc., etc. So it's very important for me to make sure that I am learning as much as I can about these kind of very important feelings and emotions, because they are part of us at the end of the day. So we need to learn how to basically manage those very effectively if we want to live forever, and not forever, but like the amount of years that we're going to live in this world, basically. So this is why in Islam we're going to be talking about how Islam or suggests you to actually deal with jealousy very effectively. So I'm going to start off with a basic introduction. So in Islam, dealing with jealousy, also known as hasad, is addressed with practical and spiritual guidelines rooted in the Quran and the Sunnah. Here are the 10 effective ways to manage and overcome jealousy according to Islamic principles. So I'm going to start off with the first one, and that is seek refuge in Allah from hasad. Jealousy is considered a destructive emotion that can harm both the person feeling it and the person it targets. Allah instructs Muslims to seek refuge from jealousy in the Surah Al-Falaq, and this is and I quote in the Surah number chapter number 113, verse number 5, and I quote, "And from the evil of an envier when he envies," end quote. So it's very important that whenever you're feeling jealous, always try to remember the fact that it is not just affecting yourself, but it's also affecting the other person, but most importantly yourself, because you become in this destructive, negative, and toxic mood that you want to make sure that the other person that you're basically targeting also faces some kind of an issue or a problem or a negative situation, basically. So obviously we do not want that, but at the time when you're feeling jealous, you obviously don't think about the other person and how it's going to affect them, because you're only thinking about the fact that you're not getting something which they have. And obviously in that moment is very important for you to make sure that try your best. I promise you these kind of emotions can be dealt with, can be managed very effectively. It just takes a lot of practice, especially somebody who gets I don't know how to say this in a very much politer way, but if somebody who is easily jealous by looking at other people's blessings, or somebody has this, somebody doesn't have this, or something like that, you're basically in other people's business a lot. It's very important that you are making sure that you know how to control and manage your emotions of jealousy, basically. And of course, as I mentioned to you all guys before, it is a completely normal feeling to feel jealousy against somebody else. But it's also important for you to remember the fact that more it is affecting them, it is more actually affecting yourself, because you are putting yourself in a destructive, toxic, negative mood, which is going to ruin the whole day and sometimes. So it's very important that you seek refuge from, in Allah, from hasad, from jealousy, as much as possible every single day. And I highly recommend for you to recite the surahs as much as you can, which are basically the three quls, and also the Fatiha and Ayatul Kursi, etc., etc. These are going to very help you in making sure that you're protected every single day from any kind of evil eyes or nazar or hasad, or whatever there might be. The second rule of law is strengthen your relationship with Allah. Jealousy often stems from dissatisfaction with what Allah has decreed. Strengthening faith, iman, through prayer, Quran recitation, and dhikr helps believers accept Allah's wisdom and provisions. And this is mentioned in the Quran, chapter number 3, verse number 185, and I quote, "Indeed, the worldly life is only enjoyment of delusion," end quote. Because whenever we see on social media, whenever we see one of her relatives being so popular, successful, or they're getting something that you do not have yet, obviously you're gonna have that kind of question against Allah, with whatever He has given to that person, and be like, oh, why is that person getting this but I'm not getting this, and I'm praying so much, I'm making so much dua, so much dhikr, why is it not happening in my life? What is something that is missing? Because I'm doing all the 5 prayers just like they are, I'm doing all the fastings, I'm doing all the dhikr, why is it not happening to me? And this is basically in a way questioning Allah's plan for you, and because you do not know what they had to sacrifice in a way to be able to get to where they are, or whatever they had to do a day and night to be able to become that successful, or have that car, or have that relationship, or have that particular wisdom, or whatever that might be. You don't know the full story. So do not be that kind of a person who is becoming jealous by just seeing the highlight reel of what is happening in that other person's life. You need to also make sure that you are not being delusional, basically, and always have the benefit of the doubt, the fact that they have been through stuff, and that's why they're getting this. And even if that's not the case, you do not have to worry about why Allah has given them certain things that you do not have, because that's Allah's choice about what He wants to give to what kind of a person and to whom. So it's very important that you're not dissatisfied with Allah's plan for you and the other person or the people that you're basically jealous of, because Allah has blessed them with that particular thing, and He has blessed you with something else that they're also probably looking into it and be like, why is this not happening in my life too? So it's very important that you are not dissatisfied with Allah's plan for you and the other person as well. Third law is practice gratitude, also known as shukr. Regularly thanking Allah for your own blessings can shift focus away from envying others. Reflecting on Allah's countless favors fosters contentment. And this is mentioned in the Quran, chapter number 14, verse number 7. And I quote, "If you're grateful, I will surely increase you in favor," end quote. And I could not agree with this particular, obviously, Quranic verse as much as I could, because I believe that the more you are grateful you are, the more you're going to get blessings into your life. The more all of your du'as are going to get accepted. And that's the truth of life. That's the rule of life that I follow every single day. Because whatever is happening to you, whether there might be a positive or a negative, having this mindset that I am grateful for all the things that Allah has given to me, and whatever Allah has provided me with, whatever situation, the people around me, etc., etc. I feel so grateful for all kinds of situations and people that come about me, because it teaches me not only about myself and what kind of a person I'm becoming, but at the same time how much merciful and gracious and giving Allah is in our lives. And we always try to basically neglect that. We always try to just neglect that and just forget about all the things He has given us, when we're always looking at the things that He has not given us. So it's very important that we are being grateful as much as possible for all the things that we have been given by Allah. And this does not has to be shared necessarily on social media. For example, some people are very grateful for certain people in their life, and they try to show it off on social media and be like, I'm so grateful for this person being in my life. Of course, once in a while that's absolutely fine, and once in a blue moon. But if there's something that consistently being shared on social media and you're just showing it off to everyone, guess what? That will also attract a lot of jealousy and evil eyes and nazar as well. So protect all the things that are very precious to you, all the du'as that are getting accepted, all the successes, all the achievements. Try to make sure they are all as minimal as much as possible. And you do not have to have those posted straight away. It doesn't have to be something that you post straight away. Oh, as soon as it happened, I have to post it, because that's creating a sort of kind of an urgency to show off as well, and arrogancy. So it's very important that you are practicing every single day in private how much grateful you are to Allah for the fact that He has given you so much in your life already that has been completely unexpected and random. Number 4 is avoid comparison. Constantly comparing oneself to others can fuel jealousy. Islam encourages believers to focus on the journey and trust in Allah's plan for their lives. And this goes really well with one of the laws that I've said previously, which is all about decree of Allah. The fact that everything that has been written for you is the best thing for you ever, and you do not have to question why this is happening in a certain way and why somebody else's life is panning out in a different way. Instead of focusing on how other people's lives are planning out or panning out, all the successes and achievements, focus on yourself. Focus on the things that are happening right in your life, positive, and things that are actually making you feel good every single day that you're grateful for, basically. But however, because whenever you compare with other people, you're basically questioning, and once again, Allah's plan against you or for you. So it's very important that you are making sure that you're focusing on yourself as much as possible, not focusing on others, because the more you focus on others, the more you're losing time on focusing on yourself. So it's very important that you are avoiding comparison and competition as much as possible to avoid any kind of jealous ill feelings building up in your heart. Number 5 is the fact that make dua for the person that you envy. And this is not unfortunately something that everybody thinks of, but at the time when you're actually feeling jealous. But the truth is that the more you make dua for the person that you're jealous of, the more it's going to come back to you as well. A powerful remedy for jealousy is to sincerely pray for the person that you feel jealous of. This is not only softens the heart, but also replaces any negative feelings with compassion, which is essentially very key when it comes to feeling like those kind of emotions, because you cannot be having both loving and hateful kind of emotions happening at the same time. That cannot happen. You cannot be loving someone and hating someone at the same time at the same time, if you know what I mean. So it's very important that you are, whenever you're feeling jealous, it's very important the first thing that you do is make dua for the person who has been provided with some kind of a thing that you have not been blessed with yet, or it's not your time yet, or maybe it's not for you at all. So it's very important that instead of feeling jealous and looking at them in a way that, oh my god, why do they have this, I'm so envious, I'm so jealous, it's very important that you are looking at them in a way that, you know what, they have this, that means that is closer for me as well, or they have achieved this, that means that this is coming close to me as well. Maybe Allah is showing me a sign that this is happening, this is going to happen to me as well in the future, inshallah, if only he wills. If he wills, anything can happen to me, and I don't have to look at the other person and be like, why is this person having this, why is this person doing this, why does this person buy this, or they went this place, blah blah blah. So it's very important that you are, a powerful remedy for you to actually get rid of all those feelings is to make dua for the person that has achieved something good, and take it as an inspiration, and take it as a way of showing you a sign that this is going to happen to you as well, inshallah, one day, if Allah wills, of course. So it's very important that you are following this remedy, and I promise it's life changing and is working out for me as well, very very well. Number 6 is control negative thoughts. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, and I quote, "Be aware of envy, for it devours good deeds just as fire devours wood," end quote. And this is mentioned in Abu Dawood in Hadith 4903. Jealousy can be controlled by actively replacing envious thoughts with positivity and seeking forgiveness for harboring them. And this is mentioned, this is a very good way for you also to think about it. The more you're jealous of the other person, or the person that you're basically targeting, the more they're getting away all of your good deeds. So if you spend, let's say, one full day just making dhikr, and then suddenly the next day you see the person that you're jealous of and they have something that you want, obviously that person literally just took away all of the good deeds that you basically did for that one particular day, and they took them away from you, and in a way that's actually showing the fact that they're getting what they want, but at the same time they're getting your good deeds. So how is that any good for you as a human being? So it's very important that you are aware of the fact that the more you're jealous about somebody else, the more you're jealous about other people's achievements, successes, and everything like that, they are taking away your good deeds the more you're jealous of them. And that's basically you wasting your time in a way, because if you spend the whole day just doing dhikr and praying and fasting and everything like that, and then the next second you're just jealous of somebody else, that's basically you wasting your time. You could be just reading a book, a novel, or something like that, and not basically care about your good deeds being gone. But it's very very important that you are just remembering the fact that the other person is taking your good deeds away whenever you're jealous of them. And that's why you will see that some people, when they are not jealous of others, you will see their life getting lightened and brightened and filled with happiness and peace, because they're not jealous of other people. They're not thinking about what other people are doing, what other people are getting, what successes, failures, whatever they might be. They're just focusing on themselves. They're focusing on their own gratitude. They're focusing on clearing out their system, they're clearing out their heart as much as possible, so that they can obtain as much as goodness, as much as good deeds as much as possible. And they're also getting other people's good deeds if other people are jealous of them. So it's very important that you are not envious of others, and try to have your own good deeds to yourself and not be jealous basically of others. Number 7 is, I believe, give sadaqah, also known as charity. Charity purifies the heart and counters the greed and resentment often associated with jealousy. It reminds us of the importance of helping others rather than competing with them. This is essentially very important, because I'm telling you the fact that whenever you're giving charity to the other person, it's not just only benefiting them, but it's most importantly benefiting yourself. Why? Because all of your negative feelings, negative deeds or bad deeds that you basically may have ever committed in your lifetime is basically all getting cleansed, and all that book is basically getting washed out. So in a way, that's a really good way for you to make sure that if you're somebody who is constantly jealous of others, or gets jealous very easily by seeing other people's successes, whether it might be social media or in your family gatherings, or friendship groups, whatever they might be, it's very important that you are giving sadaqah as much as possible. And sadaqah doesn't just mean obviously giving £500 away like every single week, but it could just mean like £1 every single day, or £1 every Friday prayer, whatever that might be. And in that way, you're basically countering out all of those bad deeds, negative feelings, negative emotions, and bad deeds that are basically accumulating in your own book of bad deeds. So it's very important that you're clearing that out as much as possible, and see charity as a way for you to actually become a more spiritually awakened, and become more cleansing, more peaceful at heart, and not having any grudges, any resentment towards somebody who is achieving better than you, or having much more success or achievements than you, etc. So number 8 is develop humility and tawakkul, relying reliance on Allah. Accepting that Allah distributes blessings as He wills prevents jealousy. Trust in His wisdom and believe that what is meant for you will never miss you. And this is completely true because we all know the fact that whenever we see somebody doing something better than us, or somebody getting a better job, a better spouse, they're going to places, whatever that might be, you think that, oh my God, how can this person be so blessed? Or how can this person be, how can this person have so much and I'm not getting anything? That I mentioned to you guys before. But it's very important that we're always accepting the fact that Allah knows best what is best for us, what is best for the other person. And we're not no one. We are no one. Literally, we are the creatures of Allah. We're not the creator. So it's very important that we accept this fact and move on from the fact that, that person is getting this. This is none of my business. I should be focusing on what I'm getting right now. What am I working on right now? What are my goals? What are my ambitions? Instead of looking at what other people are doing, why don't you just focus on yourself and see that what you can do to achieve that car or that job or that spouse or go to that specific place that you always wanted to go. So it's very important to do that and be humble as much as possible. Do not be that kind of a person who has to see somebody else's success and you're looking at them and you want to say your stuff as well immediately, because that actually shows a lot of insecurity as well, because you cannot see another person's success, so you have to shove it in your own success. If you see, all the rich people are the most quietest and most silent people as well, and they do not try to show off how much money they have, how much happy they are in their life. They're not trying to brag or be arrogant about what they have and what they don't have, because their wealth and their humbleness is basically speaks louder than everything else. So it's very important that you are not somebody who is trying to always shove it in your own success when you're hearing other people's successes or their failures or whatever they might be. So yeah, develop humility and tawakkul as much as possible. Reliance on Allah is the best thing you can ever do in your lifetime. Number 9 is avoid boasting, which goes very, very well with the previous point. Islam advises against flaunting one's blessings as it can provoke jealousy in others. Modesty and humility protect both oneself and others from envy. And this is mentioned in the Quran, chapter number 31, verse number 18, and I quote, "Indeed, Allah does not like the arrogant and boastful," end quote. And there's a way of showing if you got something and if you got a blessing and one dua of yours got accepted. There's a way of showing that. And you need to master that, honestly, if you're somebody who is an influencer, who's on social media all the time publicly and is doing it as a job, whatever that might be. But generally speaking, if there's any kind of blessing, any kind of dua that is getting accepted, you do not have to immediately post it on social media and show it off to everyone, because that's not the point. There's not really any point doing that, and that's actually also kind of dying out the excitement that you basically the fact that, oh my God, this got accepted, now I have to share it with everyone. You don't have to immediately. And that's the most important thing that I have learned personally myself on social media. Even though I'm not a person who is a person who has to post the thing straight away, I believe that the more you longer you delay, the better it is for yourself, because you also process it, the fact that this happened to me and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful to God. I will share it maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, or maybe 3 months later, whenever I feel like it. Basically, I'm not that kind of a person who has to show it off every single time, or immediately as it happened, because that kind of also is kind of like a raw state of happiness and a raw state of how do I say this, it's a kind of like a raw state of um containing whatever has happened to me in my life right now. And the more I've actually done that, the more I've delayed sharing with others, the more actually is better for me, because that allows me to actually process what just happened, and then I move up a tier. Basically, I move up in a tier of acquiring more and more blessings, inshallah, and all of my duas getting accepted in a way. So it's very important that you are avoiding boasting, especially if it's something that happened to you immediately, because Allah, again, what does not like the arrogant and the boastful. Number 10 law is remember the temporary nature of the dunya. Reflecting on the fleeting nature of the worldly possessions and success can diminish jealousy. True success lies in the hereafter. And this is mentioned in the Quran, chapter number 16, verse number 96, and I quote, "And whatever you have been given is only a provision of the worldly life, but what is with Allah is better and more lasting," end quote. And this is a very beautiful way of ending this particular video, because I wanted to remind you the fact that whatever you see around you is all temporary. You yourself looking at your mirror every single day, you yourself are temporary and you're not going to live here forever. And that's the truth of life. And if there's one thing that is basically certain, like 100% set in stone, is the fact that we're all going to die one day, and we're all going to go to the next life, and we're going to be basically accounted for all the good deeds and the bad deeds that we basically have done on this worldly life. So it's very important that you always remember, and as a takeaway for this video is the fact that, or your homework kind of in a way, is the fact that the more jealousy you are, the more the other person is taking out your good deeds. That's the truth. So if you have accumulated accumulated in your whole lifetime, let's say 10 good deeds, and you become jealous of the other person, that person is literally taking away your 10 good deeds. So it's very important that you are always careful the fact that the immediate feeling that you have towards someone that is jealousy, they are taking away your good deeds. That's the truth. And that's how I see it. And I try to basically avoid being jealous as much as possible, because I don't want to give away my good deeds, my hard work of acquiring all those good deeds to somebody else for free, basically, when I have spent my whole night, or maybe my whole energy, my limited time, whatever that might be, to actually acquire those good deeds. I'm basically giving away for free. Like, that's very ridiculous. Everything has to be paid a price. So it's very important that you are always remembering the fact that the more you're jealous you are, the more the other person is getting away all of your good deeds. And I hope that this video has helped in some way or another. If it did, then please do like, share, subscribe. I try to make these videos on a weekly basis as much as I can, because I believe that these videos does help in anyone, especially myself, in reminding myself about Islam, and my secular knowledge is basically being balanced very beautifully. And also, if I have fumbled and mumbled and I'm not able to explain really well any points, then you can always comment down below any points where you didn't understand properly, and maybe I can explain better in the comments. Or if you want to chat to me, then please do email me at farzanaslaw@gmail.com, which is if you want to do that privately, and I'll respond to you in 24 to 48 hours, because I am a very busy woman and I have a lot of things going on in my life. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me that way, and I couldn't be happier for my life. Alhamdulillah, and all praise and all credit goes to Allah, because I am nothing without Allah. That's basically essentially the truth. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next week's video.